This energy feels closely tied to your inner child. There is something that your inner child is trying to uncover, or perhaps you've been feeling certain inner child wounds coming up to the surface, but there is a reason for this. I feel like there is some sort of key that can be unlocked through the recognition of your inner child wounds at this time, or by inviting your inner child into your process that's going to lead you to further success, awakening, enlightenment for your manifestations to really come to life, okay? But if you're interested in knowing maybe where your inner child wounds might be holding you back at this time, download Astra. I used the Ask Me Anything feature and I asked where my inner child wounds might show up. And based on my birth chart, it actually gave me a pretty accurate description of where those do show up when they do. But there really is a call here to work closely with your inner child at this time. A lot of you come from upbringings, situations when you were younger where you were made to feel very small, you were constantly judged. Maybe you grew up around narcissists as well, people who were very manipulative is the energy, okay? Or there was always like a pointing, like a blame, okay? Lack of accountability. That's really the energy coming through here as far as like what your inner child is experiencing and what they're trying to heal through. And there's this layer of protection that you're able to provide to them that they very much appreciate. But there's something too about not allowing the pendulum to swing too far in the opposite direction. For example, if you grew up in a household where you could never speak your mind, you can never express your emotions, you had to bottle everything up, you could never, be seen as too sensitive, too vulnerable, or something along those lines, there's a call here to not go too far the other direction, to now say, okay, since I couldn't do that when I was younger, now I'm going to express myself, but in a way that is, angry, spiteful, or like you're trying too hard to, for example, get away from narcissism, since that was an example used prior. You're trying so hard to get away from narcissism that you don't have any confidence in yourself, that you lack the ability to view yourself in a positive light because you fear that any sort of confidence could mean that you are just like the people you come from, okay? Something like that. And I feel like right now you are in a pivotal time. Okay, the light dying. You're in a pivotal time at the moment where I feel like there is choices being presented to you. There are situations being presented to you that are asking you to respond in a way that your inner child can be proud of. Okay, I guess it died. But again, you've experienced so much manipulation, so much hurt in the past. A lot of people that you've entrusted or that were supposed to support you, your family, for example, maybe best friends for some of you as well. There's also like something about maybe you were bullied as a kid or something like that as well. So you've had a lot of instances where you weren't accepted for just being who you were. And there is a part of you that really just craves that attention, craves that acceptance now because of those wounds. But the call here is to give that to yourself, to protect that little you that still lives within you, to nurture and cater to the needs of this younger self that lives within you as well. But in a balanced way, in a way that is not, again, coming from too much spite. It's coming from a place of, understanding of the path. I feel like there's something here too of like being so proud of who you've become through all of that, who you still managed to be. But you do face triggers along your path that make this come up to the surface. And then it's really hard for you to recover is what it feels like. And you're being reminded here that your vulnerability, your sensitivity, your creativity, this sweet, sugary part of you, okay, that just wants to express, that just wants to experience life, is still there. It's still aching to be understood. It's still aching to be seen. And so there's a way, there's something here about like you again inviting them. So if you're creating something at this time, like how can you invite your inner child out to play? They want to create with you. They want to feel free. They want to feel free to express. They want you to give them the space to really tap into those gifts. And then again, it's going to impact how you view things, how you move through the world. And it's allowing you to magnetize things. I feel like you have major manifestations on the way to you. And there's a call here of rewriting your story from what you experienced in the past. And, through those experiences, okay, bullying, narcissism, abuse, whatever it is that your story, right? Whatever your story is, there were beneficial experiences that took place in terms of your spiritual enlightenment, okay? So you learned how to be discerning with your energy. You learned how to set boundaries. You learned who you could trust, who you couldn't trust. You learned to listen to your gut instinct, to your intuition through those examples of being thrown into situations where you did openly trust, you did openly, show this sweet side of yourself, and then were kind of made to feel small or talked down to again, okay? But there's a call here of allowing all of those experiences to really empower you and propel you forward, to alchemize that pain, to recognize where it's coming from. Where do you feel it in your body? What situations do you find yourself in where those inner child wounds really come up to the surface? Because there's something there that is asking you to, again, turn your attention towards, to heal, to pour love onto, okay, to alchemize, to transmute into something better. But you do have things that are moving. There's like news coming in. I feel like you have offers coming in. I feel like I've been saying this a lot, but there's like a whole new experience waiting to be presented. But I do feel like the collective that's receiving this message, your inner child is a major key to unlocking that. I think also you need to be recognizing just how much you've been able to hold yourself through, and that you can come out of survival mode now. I feel like I'm really tripping over my words. I've had to stop and start more than usual with this. So yeah, maybe there's something here about like having difficulty with speaking up. That might be one of your big wounds, or being able to appropriately communicate your emotions. Maybe you just have these like huge reactions when it all finally comes out, because again, you were so suppressed as a kid. But again, there's a call here to look at that, to heal that, because you can't heal something that you don't have awareness around. So again, it's kind of like this call to review where you feel your hurt inner child really coming out, where you feel very, very like overly defensive, overly protective of them, and how you can, again, work with them, but also protect them in a way that's very balanced, and in a way that is allowing you to express your emotions and your thought processes and how you're moving forward in an eloquent way that doesn't cause for worsening a situation. Okay, because sometimes too, there's a message here of sometimes you're like in a situation, it maybe triggers an inner child response in you, and that situation isn't necessarily isn't actually threatening you. Maybe it's just somebody who is saying, hey, I don't like that this happened, or providing some sort of constructive criticism, but because you have this wound, you're looking at it as they're attacking you. Okay, so there's something about that too. Let's just get a little bit more information before we end this reading. I hope this was making sense, because I really feel like, yeah, the words like weren't fully coming out. Seven of Cups, King of Swords. I think I'm picking up father wounds with that. I feel like a lot of you struggle with a father wound as well. So again, a call to that. But you're being reminded here that, when you're working with your inner child, you are now the adult that maybe you didn't have when we were younger. And so there is this ask from them to say, show up as the version of you that they know you are, that you've already protected them. You've moved them through so many situations in the past. You can continue to do that. But again, there's this like awareness, this call to looking in, to rewriting your story, to not allowing the stories of the past or the stories that you are used to hearing dictate how you move forward, and really healing, again, any wounds when it comes to your family, when it comes to how you view yourself, so that you can really express yourself fully and in a stable emotional way, and really unlock this next level of creativity and allow this abundance to just start flowing in. So I'm going to end it there, because again, I feel like I'm tripping over my words, but I love you as always, and I will see you in the next one.